Every man chasing a woman has felt the confusion, the sudden, silent withdrawal of affection. You dedicate yourself. You try to be the nice guy. You sacrifice your ambitions, only to watch her respect fade to zero. You think, what did I do wrong? The answer is simple. You're playing a game you were never told the rules to. 2 centuries ago, the philosopher Arthur Schopenhauer mapped out the raw, biological blueprint of female nature. His truth is so uncomfortable, so brutal, that most men still ignore it and pay the highest price: their purpose, their power, and their peace. By the end of this video, you won't just know the dark truth. You'll know how to weaponize that knowledge, reclaim your frame, and become the kind of man who doesn't chase. He's chosen. This isn't an attack on women. This is the ultimate act of self-defense. The biological trap of love. Schopenhauer cut through the romantic haze like a surgeon's scalpel. He saw love not as a spiritual connection or destiny, but as nature's cruelest illusion. What you call love is merely the ultimate, high-stakes chemical trick engineered for one singular, ruthless purpose: reproduction. When you feel that electrifying, obsessive desire for a woman, your brain isn't celebrating a soulmate. It's a calculator, furiously running an ancient program, assessing genetic fitness, fertility, and survival utility. Schopenhauer declared, "The ultimate goal of almost all human effort is love." But he meant it as a trap, a fleeting, intense high that compels you to dedicate your life, your resources, and your future to a woman who is, by biological design, running her own entirely separate program. This explains the classic tragedy: the man who destroys himself for a woman who later walks away without a second thought. The moment the biological utility is served, or a higher utility option appears, the passion fades. That's not a coincidence. That is the design. But this is only the surface. Schopenhauer identified the one critical trait that every woman is hardwired to seek. And it's not niceness. It's strength. The kind of strength you're actively suppressing. The modern man is conditioned to believe that devotion equals reward, that loyalty, sacrifice, and being a good guy will earn love. Schopenhauer's stark warning was this: to be loved, one must not be just, but clever. Women don't fall for service. They fall for strength. Not just physical, but social, financial, and psychological strength. If your devotion to her makes you clingy, desperate, or causes you to surrender your own purpose, you are signaling low value to her deeply ingrained, evolutionary selector program. Look at dating apps. The vast majority of women compete for the top 20% of high-status men. The good guy finishes last because he fundamentally misunderstands the game. He thinks he needs to serve to be worthy. Women, by instinct, are drawn to the men who don't need to serve, who command respect effortlessly. Stop serving her and start leading your life. Her respect is not earned through gifts. It's earned through unyielding self-respect. If this content is making sense to you, click the subscribe button and subscribe to the channel. Thank you for your support. If men fight with logic or force, women fight with perception and influence. Schopenhauer noted that because women were less physically strong, they had to evolve a more subtle, more devastating weapon: emotional influence and instinctive deception. This is not a moral judgment. It is an observation of a survival mechanism. The woman who can't navigate male psychology doesn't pass on her genes. Think about it. When a man wants something, he demands it. When a woman wants something, she makes you believe it was your idea. You believe you're having a conversation. She is conducting an interrogation. She tests your frame through the compliance test, how quickly you rearrange your life for her. The frame test, whether you stand your ground or cave to her emotions, tears, guilt trips. The investment test. If you are chasing more than she is. Schopenhauer called this the tyranny of the weak, the ability to leverage perceived vulnerability to control a stronger adversary. The man who falls for it becomes a slave. The man who recognizes it becomes unstoppable. But the solution isn't to fight her power. It's to build a different kind of power. A power that makes her leverage completely irrelevant. The true source of male control is a focused, unshakable self-reliance. Have you ever noticed the immediate shift in a woman's interest the moment she secures a man? The passion that defined the chase vanishes. Schopenhauer termed this the tragedy of possession. The thrill for the biological selector program isn't in having, it's in conquering. Once the conquest is over, the biological imperative moves on to maintenance or upgrade. This is why men who make a woman the center of their universe, who cling too hard, who have no life outside of the relationship, inevitably watch her lose respect and interest. Neediness destroys perceived value faster than anything else. Women are most drawn to men who don't need them. The moment you make a woman, your purpose is the moment you become a fungible resource, not a prized individual. The turning point. The man who understands this stops blaming female nature and starts adapting to it. He recognizes the difference between personal hatred and biological reality. The path to liberation. Schopenhauer's final and most liberating truth is this: the final battle isn't with women, it's with yourself. Modern men make one fatal error. They believe happiness, purpose, and worth must come from female validation. Schopenhauer knew this was the ultimate lie. The happiness which we receive from ourselves is greater than that which we obtain from our surroundings. The men who thrive are not those who conquer women, but those who conquer themselves. They develop a purpose so consuming, so intrinsically rewarding, that female attention becomes a pleasant bonus rather than a life or death necessity. They are too busy building their empire to be distracted by the chase. This is the path to the unconquered man. Here are the 3 pillars of unshakable masculinity. Schopenhauer's practical guide to freedom. Pillar 1. Economic sovereignty. Schopenhauer's insight. Money is human happiness in the abstract. Not for what it buys, but for the freedom it secures. A man who controls his finances controls his fate. Financial dependence is a fast track to loss of respect. Your purpose must secure your freedom first. Pillar 2. Philosophical depth. Schopenhauer's insight. Most men live on autopilot, following trends and societal lies. The exceptional man cultivates a mind sharp enough to cut through those lies. He reads, he debates, he learns to think for himself. When your inner world is profound, the dramas of the outer world lose their power over you. Pillar 3. Physical mastery. Schopenhauer's insight. Your body is the vessel of your will. Weakness in the physical realm breeds weakness everywhere else. Mastery over your health, your discipline, and your endurance is a direct signal of your internal fortitude. Build a body that reflects the strength of your mind. Schopenhauer's ultimate lesson is not pessimism, but emotional armor. The safest way of not being very miserable is not to expect to be very happy. The modern man who stops begging for love, approval, or fairness suddenly finds these things are drawn to him. Why? Because he has removed himself from the desperate, chasing masses. He has become the prize. The battle is not personal, it is biological theater. The man who wakes up to this stops blaming and starts evolving. He doesn't resent female nature, he adapts to it. He builds a life so compelling that women must either meet his standards or watch from the sidelines. Your choice is clear. Continue chasing illusions or step into your true, self-mastered power. The red pill isn't about hating women. It's about loving truth enough to rebuild yourself in its image. This is where your real life begins. If Schopenhauer's uncompromising truth resonated with the confusion you've been feeling, then it's time to fully commit to the path of self-mastery. Hit the like button so this message can reach other men who need to wake up. Subscribe to Psychethos and ring that bell to ensure you don't miss the next stage of your psychological transformation. The journey to the unconquered man starts now.